Hey Flomies, today I wanted to have a conversation about Flow Arts sponsorships. What are they and how do you get one? So I personally have been sponsored twice. I got sponsored by a paddleboard company when I lived in Florida, and then a Flow Arts company called Flow on Fire for the last 12 years. Now, the heyday of Flow Arts sponsorships has come and went, because now you have to be a really good person with good PR and very talented in a competitive market, right? So it's harder than it's ever been, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. So the two main ways that I understand you can get sponsored is one, like I mentioned, just being really good, performing, teaching, answering questions online, and posting cool travel or just living room videos. Sometimes, just by doing your thing, a company will reach out to you and say, "We really like what you do. We noticed you have some older LEDs. We'd like to give you a free upgrade in exchange for hopefully you being loyal to us." That could happen. In fact, that's what happened to me. But it's also because I spent a bunch of money with that company, which I will get into in a little bit. The other way you can get sponsored is by outreach. You can actually reach out to a company with a project in mind, a low-risk project, where you say, "Hey, I'd really like to earn your trust and develop a relationship with you. Can I do a giveaway? Can I do a tutorial series? Or can I just do a flow video using your products? And if it does really well, will you give me a $100 gift card?" That's easy for a company to say yes to, right? That's so low risk that now your foot's in the door. Now you have a professional relationship with them because you exchanged money for your services and your likeness online. You can start to ask for more money in exchange for bigger projects. Remember, Flow Arts companies want to grow, and they know that there's two ways to do that. They can either pay for ads targeted at flow artists, like the Flow Toys ones that say, "Upgrade your flow with our new Pop and Flow system." Very few of us flow artist millennials click those links. We kind of just scroll past them. But the other way that they can grow is through indirect marketing, which is where they hire an influencer to make an amazing video using their products. And all they do is mention it in the video or in the caption. That's sort of like pull marketing as opposed to the paid ads, which are push marketing. Now, I don't want to nerd out on marketing. I want to help you brainstorm projects and use the right phrases so you can increase your chance of getting free props, getting free tickets to shows, maybe getting paid for equipment, free travel, things like that. The way that you do that is by showing professionalism. And just right out of the gate, if you want to be a sponsored flow artist, you do have to be a cut above your competition. Maybe you're not the best at tech poi or tech juggling, but you're so professional that people trust you and they want to trust your opinion and even buy through some of the links in your bio. That's the first thing I noticed, is all sponsored flow artists have a sense of stoicism and they have a sense of just good PR. They're not rambling about politics, they're not slandering anyone online, they're just really focused on positive vibes in the art. So if you're not willing to do that, sponsorship is probably not on the table for you. The next thing you need to have is one of two categories from what I've determined, which is either going to be you have a ton of tutorials out, because that's what converts beginners to buy new products, or you have really epic performance videos out, because that's what motivates beginners to upgrade their equipment. Now, if you're just the kind of person who flows in your living room, that's still kind of below the threshold of what our community looks up to. So if you've never performed or you've never put out a tutorial, even if you're really good, that's typically not going to be what a bigger company is looking for. If you are interested in performing, I do have a book and a full guide on that. If you just need some motivation and ideas to get started, I recommend you check it out. It's called Flow Wisdom 1. So you want to be a flow arts performer. But anyway, back to the topic. What you need to understand about flow art sponsorships is that they are very rare. A good one is extremely rare, but they do exist. For example, the Flow on Fire team, this company, if you've ever seen this logo before, the Flow on Fire team out of Mexico, they do get a ton of free props because they are not dramatic, they're extremely talented, and their page is pure progression. It's absolutely phenomenal. They don't get involved in anything distracting, and their everything they put out is perfect marketing for that company. They're wearing nice costumes, they have makeup, musicality, acrobatics, they invent tech, they perform on big stages, they're always smiling, and that's the kind of, personality online that those companies like to have represent them. Because I'm not gonna lie, when you see what the Grupo Caracol out of Mexico is doing, Christian Leos and Masi and all them, you want to do it, and you are willing to spend money to get to their level. So when they're associated with this logo in their videos, subconsciously, you start to make that association. So I want to go back in time and tell you about when I was sponsored by a company called YOLO Board and Beach. Originally, they were just YOLO Board, and they made high-end paddleboards manufactured in China that we would distribute in Florida. Over time, they became more of a lifestyle brand. And in order to make more money, they sold coffee and like surfing accessories and all sorts of beach accessories, right? And as I watched that company grow, I really paid attention to the social projects that we did as employees and eventually sponsors. So for example, I liked paddleboarding so much when I was in Florida. I had a paddleboarding kids camp that I started and ran. I got certified and taught a paddleboard yoga class along with a paddleboard fitness class. I did eco tours, which is where I took guests around this island on paddleboards and taught them about it and took marketing photos for them. I helped shoot some music videos with them, which is an absolutely hilarious story in itself. I volunteered for the Special Olympics with them, where I taught people in the Special Olympics how to paddleboard, which was extremely fun and cool anyway, but it was really good PR for them. What else did I do? I went to all their races and helped set up and tear down sometimes. I also was just a really positive person in the scene. People saw me and they liked interacting with me. I was always wearing the shirts that they gave me. I was using their highest end equipment. And after a while, I spent a good amount of money with this company because I got a little bit of a discount, but I just really believed in their brand. I bought a race board and an inflatable. I think I bought 2 inflatables from them, leashes, and like a $500 paddle, a custom paddle, because, well, I like high-end equipment. And over time, they actually stopped charging me. Eventually, they would say, just, take a used one. It was used once as a demo. We see that you want to buy a new one. We're just going to give you this one. And eventually, they started giving me free new stuff, too, whether it was just a t-shirt or a bike rental or a roof rack. I mean, they just started throwing stuff at me. And that's what you call flow. Now, don't get it confused with psychological flow or flow arts flow. Flow is when a company gives you what you need because you're part of the squad and you represent them well. And in their minds, you're making them money, which I was. I did a little bit of sales for them from the beach hut where I taught. Are you starting to see the overall picture? I mean, I'm kind of rambling a little bit, and I was just a part and sometimes full-time employee for them, but I went out of my way to ensure that tourists and locals had an amazing time with their products and their brand. I'm not a marketing expert. All I know is that paddleboarding's like walking on water, and it felt great to share it with the world. Now let's apply that to flow arts. Let's look at some of what I did with Flow on Fire, this company. I wrote most of their captions for many years. That's why a lot of their old captions from years ago were poems. I helped them design apparel. I helped them design poi. I tested out different tethers, knobs, 3D printed inserts. I helped them spec what they use as gecko grip when I used to work for a manufacturing company that helped make that grip. I helped decide who we would want to bring onto the team, who would be good PR. I provided a little bit of, emotional support for people on the team. And I think I was number 2 or 3 sponsored by them. So I just, over the course of time, I proved to be a good sort of, view of what was happening on the ground because, that sounded weird. I was able to communicate what was actually happening in the scene along the West Coast at Kindle and Fire Drums and some of the juggling festivals, where Flow on Fire, they live in Maine. They don't really get out much. They have a farm and they're kind of stick to themselves, but they're really generous and awesome people. So I was kind of their social connection to the real world, right? Because they just don't go to that many events. They're absolutely willing to pay with props and sometimes money to have consistent, good information about what's happening in the real world. So you can be that connection for a company. You can offer to write their captions. You can offer to make videos for them. You can offer to edit videos for them. You can offer to help design apparel for them. You can make a blog series or a vlog series about safety that they can then associate with their brand. The sky's the limit, right? Flow Arts is what I call a blue ocean. It's not a red ocean because there's not a bunch of blood in the water chumming up and all the sharks are biting out. It's just you floating out there by yourself, and you get to decide what you're gonna do without all the other sharks swimming around you. Now, with time, that will go away. Sponsorships will get eaten up by the more competitive sharks. So you do have to act quickly. Unfortunately, the Flow Arts sponsorship heyday has kind of came and went. Ultra Poi, Flow on Fire, Astral Hoops, Flow Toys, a lot of them already have enough artists to continue doing their pull marketing. They don't need to buy that many ads. They have, well, people like Drex for the beginners, and then people like Bo Juggler, who's sponsored by Juggling Calling, for the people who strive to become experts. You don't need that many sponsees to have a big influence anymore. So how are you gonna do this? You're gonna come up with new projects that are low risk, like I said earlier in the video. So if I was trying to get a new sponsorship, I would come up with a giveaway where I would say, hey, I'll pay for half of the price of a new set of 3 LED poi. I'm gonna do a tutorial series that's 10 videos long, or maybe a 1-hour YouTube video. I'm gonna include your product in it, and then I'm gonna give away that same product at the end. And whoever learns the tricks in that tutorial series gets entered in a drawing. So people are gonna associate good tutorials, generosity, and like hype with me and Ultra Poi or Flow on Fire or Flow Toys or whomever I choose. And these are very safe for the company because assuming you don't have a bunch of PR against your name, like tutorials are great. Maybe not a lot of people will engage with it, but those who do develop a deep sense of connection to both the influencer and the company. So I personally love making tutorials. I think it is a skill that has improved my overall flow just in the world. Teaching these complex things in slow motion with clear verbal instruction, it just grows my brain like fertilizer. I don't know. So I encourage you to do the same. Come up with a tutorial series and then pitch it to the company. You can even film the whole thing ahead of time and say, look, I'm gonna post this either way. I'd love to have you be a sponsor of it. And all you have to do is cover half the price of the product I'm giving away. Yes, it costs money to get sponsored. Let's talk about that. The way that I had all these conversations with Flow on Fire over the years was that I spent like thousands of dollars with them on props. I was trying out everything they made. And throughout the process of ordering those props, I was talking about, hey, maybe we could upgrade the swivels. Maybe we could upgrade the 3D printed insert. Maybe we could do this with the wicks. And Flow on Fire being, I mean, they're so open-minded. They're like, I love them so much because they were willing to engage with me in conversation about Flow Arts props. And what that did is it positioned me as an intelligent, I don't want to say influencer, I hate that word. It positioned me as an intelligent, man in the community who could help other people create the perfect set of poi or staffs or hoops. I proved to them through my conversations with them that I knew how to upgrade what they already had to make it a little bit better. Now, if you're not an R&D guy and you're not an engineer and you're not a prop mechanic, right? It's kind of hard to do. I mean, prop manufacturers are by trade really good at making and developing props. I am not good at that. I'm not super handy. I'm not super good at turning a wrench, as they say. But I learned just enough to offer suggestions on how to improve their props. And they loved that. Like I said, it's just a couple who lives on a farm. It's hard for them to spin enough poi, let alone juggle poi, to come up with ideas on how to improve their product. Now, you don't want to call someone's baby ugly. You don't want to hit up Astral Hoops and be like, hey, did you know that your hoops actually suck and that listening to me would make them better? No. Like I said, you want to spend money with them first. So you buy their top of the line hoop and say, oh, I can't wait to use this. I do really wish it used a USB-C charger because I keep losing that little DC charger that it takes, right? like let's say it uses like a little DC charger like that, and those are just more rare, right? Little suggestions go a long way, and they're not going to listen at first. It takes a long time. You want to consistently have conversations with the manufacturer about little problems that you're having. Hey, you know, I noticed you only sell one type of grip, but here in the South, if it's humid and hot, like I sweat and this grip actually loses its grip. Do you offer an over grip? Right? Like I helped a company develop another type of grip that they can then market to new conditions. You got to think about these things, folks. So overall, you do have to spend money to make money. That's kind of my point of this little ramble. If you're not buying products from that company already, it's a little bit unlikely that they're going to sponsor you. Now, how much do you actually have to spend? Personally, you should at least have 1 or 2 of their premium products and then 1 or 2 of their base level products to prove that you've used everything they offer so that your insight about those products is actually valuable. You should also post proper review videos. If you remember back to like the early 2000s when blogging was the fastest way to get a following online, you'll remember that what those folks would do is they would write a different product review every day for 90 days. And the algorithm in the early 2000s would go crazy with that. It would boost you to the top. And as long as you purchased the like Google ads or whatever, you would get millions of reads on your blog. And then you could convert people to do whatever you wanted from there with that attention. So product reviews, my point is product reviews over the course of internet culture are incredibly valuable. Now, if you have the budget for it, you want to buy at least 2 or 3 other brands and compare them all and then uphold the company that you want to sponsor you as the best one. I've done this a couple times and it was not contrived. I legitimately believed that this company made the best ice poi, the best spherical LED poi, because of the knobs they put with it, the tethers, and the diffusion of the light in the head. As you can see, I really like talking to companies about their products, and I have the budget to afford them. So if you're not in a position to spend a bunch of money, time, and energy to talk about products, you need to get there first. It is a surefire and fast way to get those companies' attention. So I almost had a 3rd sponsorship one time, which was from UltraPoi. I still don't know what happened to this day. They reached out to me saying they were going to give me a set of 3 free LED poi if I did a tutorial series with them, and then they just went silent. And that is something that happens with these sponsorships. Sometimes you get so close and then it just falls between your fingers like sand. You don't know what happened. I reached out to them, I think 3 or 4 more times, and I probably looked a little desperate, and then they didn't want to work with me. I was really excited, and I don't blame myself for trying, and I don't understand what happened, but that's kind of how a lot of these awesome things in life go, is those companies will reach out to 5 to 10 people that quarter or that year, and they'll say, hey, who wants to collaborate with us and do a giveaway? Everyone says yes, and then the company will sit there and go, let's actually work with these 3 people. So never bug these companies. They may circle back around a couple years later, or they may just forget and you reach back out to them and voila, there's your sponsorship. But don't bug them about a sponsorship. Always find some backdoor reason to talk to them. Hey, how's it going? Hey, I saw you released a new product. Hey, I saw your collaboration with the other person. That was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Find other reasons to talk and connect without them so it's not so awkward, because they know what they did. Now, a lot of the big flow arts companies out there right now wouldn't be open to like directly sponsoring you and just giving you money or props. Why? Because they don't need you, right? If you're just doing what you're doing, you're not actually going to introduce any new energy into the community. You're just going to become, well, an entitled artist on their payroll. So you have to think outside the box, right? Like vending is a really good option. Hey, will you give me a discount, let's say 50% discount, or maybe 25 is more reasonable, if I purchase a bunch from you and you loan me some money to purchase a bunch from you and I go vend it, and then I do a vlog series and a video review on why I chose to vend those products. I have done that with Flow on Fire and they loved it. It was awesome. I still have some of their poi left actually. And I absolutely loved doing that. Getting a bunch of different sets allowed me to connect with beginners, intermediate spinners, let them try out different tethers. And as I was selling these props to them, it forced me to explain the differences in the different knobs, tethers, lengths, thicknesses of the tethers, weight of the ball, and even like the zip poi or the slick poi and all the different little fun variations that we had. So every little project that I've done with them has advanced me a lot, which felt amazing. I may have lost some money here and there vending. I may have made some money when they gave me free props. Overall, it has cost me a lot because Flow Arts props aren't cheap. And I would say at the end of the day, like the math equals out to, I probably got like a 25% discount on over all the money I've spent with my main sponsor, Flow on Fire, these guys, right? I've spent probably, 20, 30 grand with them over 12 years. I typically spend like 2,000 a year with them. Some years 5,000, some years a couple $100. And then they'll send me some free stuff, usually once a year, because of how much I spend with them. So they want to keep me coming back, and they know that throwing me a bone here and there is going to keep me coming back. So am I sponsored fully? No, they don't give me everything I need. But do I have a good deal worked out with them? Yeah, I would say. And whenever they give me free stuff, it's because we work out a project to do with it. And it's usually not free. It'll be like free components if I spend $1,000, right? They'll give me like a free swivel bearing or like a free set of extra tethers or something. So while that would have cost me $100, $200 or something, they just throw it in, right? They're already making so much money. They want to keep me happy. And it's cheaper and easier to give me props than it is to give me like money or buy me tickets to Kindle or Fire Drums or something like that. So keep this in mind. Like, I know I'm repeating myself, but you do have to be ready to spend money with these companies to really get them to take you seriously. 100% no. I mean, I guess you could just be so freaking skilled that they can't look away and they just want to work with you. But even at my level, I would say I'm like between intermediate and advanced, and I put out a lot of good content, in my opinion. Even then, there's no point of them to just give me free stuff. It's always going to be a little bit less than what I want. And so I want to end on this. I never asked myself, what can my sponsor do for me? Okay? What I asked myself is, what could I do for the community that would be enhanced by a sponsor? Let's look at that again. I'm not thinking, what free stuff can I get? I'm thinking, how can I help other people achieve their dreams faster with the help of an established company? If this resonates with you, let me know. I'd like to know what your goals are with getting sponsored, and if you are sponsored, what kind of projects you have in mind. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Have a great day.